Blog Talk Radio. Hi, this is Margot. This is Thursday night, November 24th, 2016, Thanksgiving night. I hope everyone had a safe and happy holiday and, nice time with family and friends and eating turkey or vegetarian or, watching football or just kind of chilling out, taking it easy. However you spent the day, I hope you spent it the way you wanted to. So I'm going to break away from the Essene lessons for tonight. I have an astrologer friend who's actually my best friend. And we were talking earlier today about the aspects of the Electoral College, the astrological aspects that are coming up on December the 19th, which is when the Electoral College in the U.S. will cast its votes, cast the votes for president. And depending on how that turns out, that will determine really who the president of the United States is going to be. I was not real familiar with this system, but I've done a little bit of research and come to find out November the 8th was Election Day, and then on December the 19th is when the electors from each state will cast their vote for president and vice president. And these have to be submitted no later than 9 days after that to the president of the Senate, who is the vice president, and the archivist. And then on January the 6th of 2017, the Congress meets in a joint session to count the electoral votes. So, but the Congress can pass a law to change the date. But right now it's January 6th. And so that's the day we'll actually find out who will be president of the United States. Right now we're thinking it's going to be Trump because that's how it turned out on the election in November the 8th. But the Electoral College could change. I mean, it can happen. So anyway, my friend and I were talking this morning, and he was saying, "Man, these aspects don't look good for December 19th." And Mercury goes retrograde that day. And he started listing off all this stuff, and I said, hey, if you write it up, I will do a show about this, and just to give people a heads up as to what to look out for and what's going on and stuff like that. So he wrote it up and emailed it to me, and I'm going to read it to you. And he we did a chart. He did a chart for December the 19th at 5:55 a.m. is when Mercury actually does go retrograde in Washington, D.C., 5:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then he compared it to the U.S. birth chart, and he uses July 4th, 1776 at 2:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And so that gives a Gemini Rising chart for the U.S. A lot of astrologers use the Sagittarius Rising chart, and the only difference is the time of day that you choose. If you use the Sag Rising chart, it's interesting because it completely, I mean completely, to the degree, overlays the December 19th chart. I mean, it overlays it to the exact degree. It's 8 degrees Sagittarius rising. So he uses the Gemini rising chart, so that's no big deal. If it's a huge difference, you know, in stuff going on, I can come back on and do another show. But it's not that much of a difference. But if you do use the Sag rising chart, it's just amazing that it's such an overlay. So it shows that this is a huge influence. So I'm going to read the email that he sent me, and then I'm going to go over some things with you guys. So I use you can do free charts online, several different places. I use Astrolab. And it's ALABE.com, and you can just type that in your web browser, ALA, B as in boy, and E as in Edward.com, and go to free astro chart, free birth chart, and you can put in the information. And so I did a chart for December 19th at 5:55 a.m. for Washington, D.C. I put all the information in, and we've got Sagittarius rising at 8 degrees. We've got Sun and Saturn in Sagittarius. We've got Mercury conjunct Pluto in Capricorn in the second house. That's the house of money. We've got Venus in Aquarius. We've got Mars in Pisces. We've got Neptune in Pisces, 9 degrees. At 9 degrees Pisces, Mars is at 0 degrees Pisces. And we have Uranus retrograde in Aries right there too. And then we've got Moon at 9 degrees Virgo right at the top of the chart, and midheaven is in Virgo, and then we've got Jupiter over there in Libra by itself in the 10th house. So I'm not an astrologer. I know a little bit about astrology. I've taken some classes and stuff, but you know, my friend, he's written some books and stuff, and he knows all about the angles and stuff, a lot more than I do. So here we go. He says, the Electoral College votes in all 50 states on December 19th. That is the day Mercury goes retrograde. Not only does it go retrograde, but it also squares Saturn in the USA chart. That is not good! Exclamation point. The next 2 weeks afterward, there are more very difficult aspects to the USA chart involving Saturn, Uranus, and Mars. Not good! Exclamation point. First, let me give you the chart data so you can check it out for yourself. The USA chart that I use is for July 4th, 1776 at 2:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And by the way, if you want to run that chart yourself, Astrolab only goes back to the 1800s for your choices. So I didn't run that. I found one online that was already run, and I found a Sagittarius rising chart. So that's how I knew about that. Okay, continuing in his email. The data for when Mercury goes retrograde on December 19th is 5:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Washington, D.C. Note that Mercury, which rules the USA natal chart ascendant that has Gemini rising, goes stationary at 15 degrees Capricorn, and he means retrograde. When he says stationary, and astrologers do this, they'll say, oh, this goes stationary. But it's stationary when it's either going backwards or forwards, and it's not really going backwards or forwards. It looks like it in the sky. When you look up in the sky, it looks like the planet is like not moving because of our elliptical orbit. Okay, it is moving, but it just doesn't look like it is in relation to us. And so there comes a point where instead of it moving forward, it'll look like it has stopped. That means stationary. And then when it goes retrograde, it means it looks like it's going backwards in the night sky. And then when it goes direct, it means it looks like it's going forward. But it can go it goes stationary. It does look like it stopped at just a little bit of time when it first is like not going to go forward anymore, but it hasn't gone backwards yet. It looks like it stopped just hanging in midair. And then the same thing when it's finished going retrograde or backwards in the night sky, then as it's changing its course to look like it's going forward, it will look like it's stopped, and that's called stationary. So that's a little confusing. So anyway, but I know that he means retrograde here. So go stationary at 15 Capricorn for, I think that's 4 minutes, squaring the natal USA Sun at 14 Libra 47. And the ascendant of the Mercury stationary chart is 8 Sagittarius 14. That means the descendant is 8 Gemini 14, conjunct the USA Uranus at 8 Gemini 53, which is conjunct the USA Ascendant. So, okay, so he's all excited about this. And that starts a series of not good aspects the next 2 weeks. And here they are. Saturn transiting in the 7th house of the USA chart, opposing the USA Mars. That aspect becomes exact on December 27th and 28th. Well, guess what December 28th is? That's the day that the Electoral College has to turn in all their votes to the Vice President. And he says just before Uranus goes stationary, and it's stationary direct, on the 29th, closely aspecting the USA Mars at the same time the transiting Jupiter is also very closely aspecting the USA Mars. Note also that in the Mercury retrograde chart, the moon is exactly opposite Neptune, and both are squaring the USA Saturn. Okay, and then he goes into explanation. Some meanings for Mercury retrograde are confused thinking, making bad decisions, making decisions which are challenged, unclear thinking, trickery, going against previous decisions, incorrect thinking, creating confusion, changing your mind. And Mercury, and I was talking to him, it can be media too, and he said absolutely, because Mercury has to do with communication. There can be mixed communication, mixed signals, mixed messages sent here and there won't get through. There can also be lots of computer glitches, lots of internet glitches, we all know, mechanical failures, everything. Everything under the sun, anything that can go wrong will go wrong when Mercury's retrograde. And then he says Uranus has to do with rebellion, revolting, upsets, overturning, elections, voting, making people angry and enraged, changing the rules, turning things upside down, disruptions, etc. And Uranus is the planet of change, and not just change, but abrupt change and revolutionary change. And Neptune, he doesn't say it here, but Neptune has to do with hidden things. Nebulous meaning it's not out in the open, it's hidden. And Moon is opposing Neptune. Okay, and Saturn has to do with repression, abnegation, rejection of what has previously been done, and animosity, defeat, despair, death, dismay, hate, troubles, paralysis, Satan, tribulations, vetoing, felonies, detention, prisons, buildings, etc. And Saturn is also the policeman of the zodiac. It can also have to do with rioting, things like that. And then Mars is aspected. It has to do with anger, violence, fighting, wars, fires, and also martial law. He didn't put that in there, but that's my interjection. So he continues, so in my estimations, things don't look good. The Electoral College might overturn the election, or maybe won't be able to make a clear decision, or there will be dishonesty. A lot of tribulation around the voting. We'll see how this plays out. So that's my astrologer friends' Astro scope for December 19th through the end of the year. He just kept on and on and on about it this morning, and I'm like, okay, if it's that bad, I'm going to do a show about it, because I've never heard him this upset, seriously. And I don't mean to, make people upset. I just mean to bring it to your attention. This needs to be brought to your attention. And in that December 19th chart, you've got Moon opposite Mars and Neptune. Moon opposite Mars and Neptune, and Moon is in Virgo there, and Virgo midheaven. They can get nitpicky. Virgos kind of like drive me crazy. I'm a Gemini, so I can kind of roll with the punches and, think on my feet, and, it's easy for me to do change, because that's one of the facets of Geminis. But Virgo people the characteristics of Virgo are nitpicky, precise, detail-oriented, obsessive-compulsive to the nth degree, to where you really like overlooking all of the big, you can't see the big picture because you're just looking at one thing. So, anyway, there's that. And so So that's on the 19th and the 28th both. And I wanted to also bring in the satanic calendar, and because we can't forget what's coming up. Winter solstice is coming up, and I looked, and this year it starts on December 19th. But according to one of the satanic calendars, it says winter solstice is December 22nd. But, you know, it's different every year, just depending on the moon cycles and all that stuff. And we've got, I think it's a new moon on the I can't remember. We've got a new moon coming up after that. Anyway, I think it's on the 19th or the 22nd. I'm not for sure. You can look that up. I mean, there's plenty of I didn't do that research. Okay. Here we go with the satanic calendar. Winter solstice is satanic Sabbat festival and feast day, and it's a day for orgies, oral, anal, and vaginal, and for any age, male or female, human or animal. Oh, yay. So that's getting everyone in the mood. And then that's coming up to Christmas. And then December 24th is Demon Revels, Da Muir High Grand Climax for any age, male or female, human and or animal. So they were just carrying on and getting all revved up from the 19th or the 22nd or whenever it's going to be through the 24th, and then Christmas Eve is another satanic, is like the biggest one of the biggest ones of the year, along with Halloween. Christmas Eve is the blood sacrifice, and it's receive body parts as Christmas gifts, and it mainly involves infant males. So there you have it. So that's what we've got going on. So with that all coming up, with all of these chaotic influences and wars in the heavens, literally wars in the heavens, and squares and oppositions and aspects and everything, you know, my advice is lay low, you know, stay cloaked, don't attract attention, say a lot of prayers for peace, ask for God and Jesus and the angels to come in, and ask for the highest good to happen in all situations, and to kind of like downplay some of these aspects. So this is just a heads up. If we know in advance, you know, we can do things to mitigate things into so that it might not be so bad. But that's all we can do. And, you know, I tried not to believe in astrology. I went through a phase for a while where my friend would be like, I'd be going on a job interview or something. This was back when I was working in the real world. And he'd always do my chart for the interview. Or if I had if I had a time that I could pick, you know, I would consult with him before I'd go to the interview, and he'd say, well, here's your best times, here's your worst times, this and that, you know. And if I didn't have a choice, he'd look at it and he'd say, and I just got to where it's like, I don't want to know because, you know, I don't want my whole life to revolve around astrology. But, you know, him being an astrologer, that's kind of like what they do. But, you know, I didn't want to be locked into that system and locked into that matrix. And I'm like, it's just a matrix. It's just a belief system. It's not real. But, you know, it's proven out to be real. And the reason it works is because we are in a matrix. We are in a huge matrix and probably in a computer program. And, you know, so here we go. So we're just playing it out. We're playing out the roles, and let's just see what happens. So that's the Astro Outlook for the Electoral College voting on December 19th, 2016. So I hope this gives everyone a heads up. In the meantime, everyone, you know, try to chill out. You know, we need to get along. We need to just accept what's going to happen, and just pray for peace, pray for world peace. That's all I know to do. And in the meantime, I am a hypnotist, holistic life coach, and spiritual healer. And I'm focusing on removal of implants of all kinds and energetic healing with my clients, and I have amazing success. I also do other kinds of, connecting people with their star family. I do past life regression, all kinds of stuff. My website is margoshealingcorner.com. I have a YouTube channel at Margot's Healing Corner. And just a little heads up, I'm going to be interviewed live tomorrow night on Late Night in the Midlands by Michael Vera. So be sure and check that out. That's going to be from 9 till midnight Eastern Time. And it'll be... Late Night at the Midlands.com is his website, and I'm thinking it's going to be streaming live on the internet. He's got a YouTube channel. You can just look that up. So, anyway, stay well, stay cloaked, and go in peace, and God bless. And I'll talk to everyone next time. Goodbye.